What's going on, YouTube? Part 2 of my Bugout ideas. Now, the first one that I gave you guys to make sure we're on track here was become more educated. And I wasn't talking about necessarily education as far as getting a degree or anything like that. Even though it's not a bad thing to go, if you lose your job, to go out and just be retrained in another area. But the education I was talking about is that most people don't know how, right, to make money outside of a job. You have to become better at that. You have to become more skillful in that area. Number 2 was when I said learn how to buy real estate. And the way I think, short but simple, to buy real estate is to buy it when it's on sale, below market value, and try to pay cash money for it. Number 2. Now, before I go into number 3, I just want to talk about a negative habit that we as people have that will not get you anywhere. And that negative habit is called worrying. Now, I talked about this in my last video. I talked about how when North Korea and South Korea were having a little fight, little war thing about to happen, supposedly, a lot of people took money out of those markets. But what happened? Nothing happened. You see, worrying sometimes can be one of your nightmares. I want to read you some quotes on worrying real quick. And this quote is by Winston Churchill. It says, "When I look back on all these worries, I remember the story of the old man who said on his deathbed that he had had a lot of trouble in his life, most of which never happened." I'll repeat half of that statement again. The story of the old man who said on his deathbed that he had had a lot of trouble in his life, most never happened. Reach another quote about worrying. Worry is like a rocking chair. It gives you something to do, but doesn't get you anywhere. So why is it that we worry? Is worrying a healthy habit? Because most of the time when we worry, right, we think the worst. We get on a plane. Before we get on the plane, we're like, oh my gosh, this plane's going to crash today. Please, please, please. As soon as we hit a little turbulence, oh my gosh, this plane's going to go down. Oh God, oh God, oh God. Some people think that, and it never happened. But when you get more education on what turbulence is, oh, it's just the air coming up beneath the plane. Usually happens when you go over mountains and things of that nature, and it actually doesn't throw the plane off course or anything. Really, nothing happens to the plane, just movement. Then you become a little more educated, and you're like, okay, well, what I'm really worried about? But see, that's the problem that we have. We worry a lot, sometimes about things that are never going to happen. I'm on YouTube. A lot of people have been text messaging me. Well, not text messaging me, but messaging me on YouTube. I've had at least 5 or 6 people tell me that the dollar was already going to crash in November. So I just made sure I sent them a message back saying, well, it's actually January now, and we haven't crashed yet. You know? So let's move on, because I already know that a lot of my videos probably not going to get all my bug out ideas now, but I'm just going to keep going forward. Number 3 is what I put down is acting poor versus acting rich. Now, let me clear up something real quick. When I read The Millionaire Next Door, I was thinking that I was going to read a book that was talking about all these people going to be driving these lavish Mercedes-Benz, big homes, and they were just going to tell me how they did it. But I got totally the opposite. I read about people who clipped out coupons, people who had simple jobs, wives who didn't work, and men who were frugal. They didn't go out and buy these fancy cars. The cars that they bought were actually cars that they paid cash money for. Why? Because real people with wisdom, when it comes to money, right, they buy more things that appreciate than depreciate. Let's say that again. They buy more things that appreciate in value than depreciate. So that means if you're into paying car notes for a car, stop it today. I have 2 vehicles out there right now. Both are paid for. And they're not paid for because I made payments to pay them off. When I actually bought the vehicles, I paid cash money for both. This is what you should do with your life. Because guess what? When you spend money on cars, which is a bad investment, you're throwing away money that you can use to invest to bring more money in the home. When you have a mortgage and you're paying all this money on interest and things of this nature, whatever, you're spending money that you can use to invest and bring more money home. Most people in other countries, in third world countries, and most other countries also, their houses are paid for. Some countries don't even have a loan system. They go in and they pay cash money for their home and it's done. That's a practice that we as Americans should adjust. We shouldn't be such in a fast pace to get out of college, have the kid, get a car note, and get a house note. No. I watched First Time Home on was it HGTV again. Same thing. They're saying, we want to buy a home that's $400,000, but our mortgage is going to be around $1,500. We'll be okay. We won't have much money to eat out and things like that, but we'll be okay. No, you won't. Because you move into that $400,000 home, right? Move into that home, and then all of a sudden the value goes down, and then you're stuck with a dilemma. You're like, oh my gosh, my house value is going down. I'm paying $1,500 a month. My loan was for $400,000. Why am I paying on my home? A problem that most Americans have gotten into. Think about it. So, we talked about number 3. Don't go out and buy the car. But here's the thing. Let me just add one more thing to that. People who go out and get these Mercedes, dress nice, they're always in the mall, they're coming out with bags, their credit cards and max, they seem like they have nice cars. Those are not really nice, rich people. Those are not really rich people. Because here's the thing. There are some people out there who can be alive for 7 lifetimes and still won't be able to spend all their money. Don't get me wrong, but that's a small percentage. But a majority of first-time generation millionaires have gotten there from this: cutting their expenses, living frugal, living in middle-class homes, paying cash for their cars, paying cash for their homes, making a lot of money and not sending a lot of money out. No secret. So adopt that lifestyle. So what are we at? Number 4. And I'm probably just going to be able to go to number 4 here. Actually, we already talked about number 4. Number 3 was acting poor instead of acting rich. And I don't even like to say the word acting poor, because to me, acting poor is actually acting rich. When you live a frugal lifestyle, that's the lifestyle you should live. That's what we should be doing, and we won't do a lot of whining if we have that lifestyle, because we would have the additional money to buy the gold that you survivalists want, or the silver, or to buy investments. You know, have money sitting to the side. You can invest in a franchise, which will bring you passive income in. So number 3 was so-called acting poor versus acting rich, and number 4 was never buy a car with payments. Never get into payments with a car. That's the most dumbest idea ever. So I'm going to leave it at those right there, and then I'll add more on later. So let me know what you guys think about those 2 right there. We can discuss it. We can go on, and then tomorrow I'll give you a little more. So until next time, signing off. Oh yeah, and also too, if you're interested in the Etsy classes, please contact me. They're very inexpensive, and we can move further. So until next time, signing off.